The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. At that time, the disciples had forgotten to bring bread, and they had only one loaf with them in the boat. And Jesus cautioned them, saying, "Take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod." And they discussed it with one another, saying, "We have no bread." And being aware of it, Jesus said to them, "Why do you discuss the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Having eyes, you do not see. Having ears, you do not hear. And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many basketfuls of broken pieces did you take up?" They said to him, 12. "And the 7 for the 4,000? How many baskets full of broken pieces did you take up?" And they said to him, 7. And he said to them, "Do you not yet understand?" The Gospel of the Lord. I feel very much like the disciples in this boat today, because our everyday things are important to us. There they are in a boat with no bread. So obviously the immediate thing is, what are we going to eat? And yet Jesus takes this opportunity to talk to them, first of all, about the Pharisees and Herod. So that must have been first and uppermost in his mind, about them being the leaven. So we'll talk a bit about that. But he talks about a second thing. He goes right to the matter and he said to them, "But you guys, you've been with me, you've seen so much." And he reminds them about the feeding of the 5,000, the feeding of the 4,000. And he asks them, "What did you experience then, when we were talking about thousands of people?" And they clearly say, "Well, there was a miracle, and we understand that miracle. We saw it." And he ends by saying, "Do you not yet understand?" You know, get the picture, folks. This is God we're talking about. It's not just some silly person who comes onto the scene and does a few little wonderful things, and then it's a loser situation after that. No, this is Jesus Christ. And he's saying, get the picture, folks. But he's giving 2 messages today: the leaven, and to have faith when things look crazy. One of the things that I have marveled at right here in this parish, and I think most priests are, in some little sense, and it's a little thing, it's not a big thing, it's an inexplainable thing, but it's something that touches me. We haven't had mass for public masses for weeks and weeks and weeks. We are in an area where humidity is high, yet the Eucharist in the tabernacle does not go moldy. If I put a piece of bread, ordinary bread, in that tabernacle, it would have gone moldy, I would think, certainly being at the coast, but not the Eucharist. There might be a simple explanation of it, about the fact that there is no yeast in it, sure. But still, when I go to the tabernacle, after weeks and weeks of people not coming to Mass and not even opening the tabernacle, I get a sense of, dear Lord, you really are special. Little thing, maybe doesn't mean anything to you, but that means something big to me. And in our lives, what Jesus is saying about this leaven is, look at the little things that produce big things. The little faith that we have. Because the Pharisees and the scribes were planting little things that were bad. They were planting doubt. They were planting hopelessness in tiny little things. And we do that every day, as if we are people who do not believe in the great miracles that God has done. Look at Noah. Look at how we came into our democracy without huge loss. Loss, but not huge. A surprise to the world. Yes, there's lots to be hopeless about, but there's more to be hopeful about. This is what Jesus is saying. Am I going to plant the leaven of hopelessness? Or am I going to believe, like the apostles, in what Jesus can do with very, very little? Am I going to be like the Pharisees that destroys the little hope that is there? Or am I going to be like Jesus, pointing out to his disciples the wonderful things that he has already done? We are going into Lent tomorrow. And today is a day of remembering all those little things. The pancakes, the wine, not all at once, just to remember how blessed we are. And to say to ourselves, what can I do without this Lent? Not because it's a bad thing, but because it's a good thing for my soul. St. Augustine says that if we allow ourselves to do all the little things that are permissible, then we will eventually find ourselves doing the big things that will get us into serious trouble. So this Lenten season, especially as we're learning to ride the wave of God's love, we are learning what is essential. What sacrifice can I make with joy and love so that my heart is prepared, spiritually prepared, to understand the mysteries of God far more than I understand them now? What sacrifices am I going to make with prayer, fasting, and acts of charity? Not that these things in themselves are bad. Wine gums are not bad, but it's good for me to give them up because I remember that I don't need wine gums to love God. And if I go to the shop and they haven't got any wine gums, I don't have to have a crisis. Because I don't need wine gums, but I do need the love of God. Lent helps us see this. I'm so pleased that we have to have an extra Mass tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. because all the other Masses are full. That fills me with joy because you, God's people, are following the desire to listen to God in your hearts. This is a beautiful gospel today for us to remember that the little things that we do matter. And God takes the little things and makes them big blessings. So as we prepare ourselves today, let us look at all our little blessings and be prepared to put them aside for the sake of the glorious journey of understanding how God takes little and makes much of our own lives and the lives of every human being on earth. Amen.